Hi, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon. It depends on the whatever in the world you are. Today we start our first teachers interview in this new year 2024. So we have the privilege to invite Master Mauricio Matabay. Okay, he works in Yachay University. He currently works there. So welcome, Mauricio. How are you?
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Andres, wow, I'm very glad to see you. And thank you so much to those people who are here and this wonderful meeting. And thank you so much. Well, thank you for this wonderful invite. It's my pleasure to be here. And I really like to have fun with all of you. So if you have questions, I will be all ears for you, and I will be here to answer all the questions that you asked me.
Thank you so much. It is Mauricio, no? So feel free, everybody, to have a don't feel that it's a very formal interview. So
Mhm.
as teachers we can also have some points that we agree, and we can also ask to Mr. Mauricio. So for the interview, we're going to have time to do it, and I invite you to do it. So feel free, don't be shy. Okay, so let's get started first. Mauricio, now, the first thing that I would like to know is that what inspires you to choose the career to study as an English teacher? So, what advocacy did you have to choose that career? Can you briefly explain us a little bit more about it?
Sure. Well, Andres, I have two passions in my life, education and cinema. I will start with education. When I was a child, I remember that I really liked to play with my cousins, and I always used to invite them to play it all together. And we used to play like if we were at school, and I was always the English teacher. I was always the English teacher. At maybe 10 years old, you don't know a lot of English. However, I tried to explain my cousin something about English, basic vocabulary, animals, colors at that time. And at that time, I really liked to teach mathematics, and I used to teach them mathematics. So when we played, or when we role played the situation of being at school, I was always the teacher, always. So probably that was the first step in my life. Yeah, because I remember that I was always the teacher. So in my family, nobody was a teacher. So I was the first member of my family that became a teacher. And something that I can say that I am really, really proud to be a teacher. I think that I was born to be a teacher. I love to teach. I really like to do what I love, and education. Being a teacher, that is my passion.
Definitely, I guess so, Mauricio. I saw that. As I told you before the interview, so I saw your accomplishments. So more than accomplishment, I think that you love sharing things, no? I noticed that
Mhm,
you feel happy when you share things, no? And I can
mhm.
see and I can see in your reactions, in your acts, and that's so lovely, no? Interestingly here, Marisol, she has asked a question. Which level do you think is better to teach English? Okay, let me read again. Um, I'm sorry. Okay, I repeat the question. Which level do you think is better to teach English, or what level would you feel more comfortable teaching? So, I mean, Marisol, you are referring to the I don't know, maybe you're referring to the university or high school, different levels, yes, in general terms.
Yes, in general for me, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I am currently working at university, and I am working with a master's degree program, and right now I am teaching a module called Teaching English to Different Age Groups, and it's really fascinating because here you have to teach teachers how to work with different ESL age groups. So this is a very fascinating module. And what I can tell you is from my experience, I have had the chance to work with different age groups. I started working with preschool students, then with primary school students, then with secondary school students, now with university students, but also I have had the chance to teach adults. So I have gained a lot of experience. So from my point of view, I think that more than the best level to teach, I think it's the passion that you have, the motivation that you have to teach. That is very, very important. If I am motivated, I can feel very well if I teach children. If I am very motivated, I can feel very excited to teach teenagers. The same with adults, the same with young adults as well. So all depends on your motivation. Yeah, so for me, I don't have a very, very specific age group of students to teach. For me, more than that is to be motivated first. Yeah, and the passion that you have to have in order to teach other people. Yeah, remember, nobody can teach any subject if he or she is not completely motivated. So motivation is the first step that we have to keep in mind before teaching. And the other question, what level would you be more comfortable teaching? Believe me, I am very, very happy if I teach children, teenagers, young adults. Yeah, I really like to teach. As I told you before, I think that I was born to teach. Education is my passion, so I am very happy. But I know that there are some people who say that it's better to teach children because you can control them, or other people say, no, I prefer to teach teenagers, yeah, because they are very energetic. Or maybe, no, I prefer to teach adults or young adults because they are more responsible. Well, what I can say from my experience, I truly enjoy teaching any age a group of students. For me, teaching is my passion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear Mauricio. I think that was very clear, no? Well,
Mhm.
in this moment, okay, I'm so glad to see Belisario Quesada, no? Hello,
Mhm.
Belisario. He's one of our ex-partners, Mauricio, no?
Yes.
In your group, no?
Yes, I remember. Yes, yes, yes. Mhm.
Hello, Belisario. How are you?
Hola, hola. Hola, Andresito, ¿qué tal?
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Belisario. So
Hey,
just
Andresito. Hey, Mauricio.
Hello,
Great to see
hello,
you, Mauricio.
Belisario. Glad to see you. Wow, I haven't seen you
Yes,
for ages.
long time. I think more than 10 years, you know?
Yes, actually, more than 10.
So I think it's time to have a meeting.
Yeah, time
A team
flew too
meeting.
quickly.
uh,
So you're working at Yache, right?
Yes, I'm currently working at the Tech University. Actually, on May 1st is my anniversary. I am going to be celebrating my 7th anniversary there, and I am really happy to work here at this institution. Oh my God, Yache Tech is part of my life. It's my second home, and here at Yache Tech, people is not like the common colleagues or the common students. No, all together are like a big family. Yeah, so I am very happy to work for this prestigious institution.
Wow. That's nice. That's great. So this is our proud, Harper Proud.
Yeah, I feel extremely proud to be here. And look, I see the Wildcats.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the
I see
one.
the yeah. I
I
also
still
have one
have
of the
it.
t-shirt. Yes, I have my purple KU State t-shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I
wow.
forgot to wear it today.
It was a very nice experience. I think it was last year.
Yeah, it was the best experience. Yes, Andres, by the way, I can say something important. I
Yeah.
consider that I was another person before this wonderful opportunity, studying at Kansas State University. And I was a completely different person after this wonderful experience, the scholarship. That was something that changed my life completely. And it gave me lots of opportunities. So I'm really thankful with life, with people who trust me, and with those people who I had the chance to meet them there at Kansas State University. Yeah, so definitely that is one of my best experience ever.
Wow.
It
Thanks,
sounds
Mauricio.
like such a gratitude. Yes, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Belisario.
Yes.
Yes, Mauricio, no, it sounds like that you feel gratitude for the things that we receive this blessing. Uh, I agree with you. So I think that that opportunity that we receive and that we had in the time that we were living in the United States and we studied, it was such a great chance, no, to grow as
Mhm.
persons and professionals too. Mhm.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, in this moment, please, teachers, feel free to ask questions, or you would like to ask something to our teacher, no, Mr. Mauricio Matabay. You can do it right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you rather write in the chat or you want to speak, do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just read the Marisol's questions. Marisol says that what strategies or approaches do you use to motivate your students? No, and also there is a next question. The question is similar. What strategies or approaches do you use to motivate students with special need students? It is no.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Necesidades
Especially.
específicas, educativas específicas.
Mm-hmm.
yes, it is.
Well, basically, as a teacher, you have to try to find the best approach, the best methods, the best strategies, the best techniques to work with your students. I consider myself a person who enjoy teaching by acting. Yeah. Well, I forgot to mention that I have taken lots of acting courses, and probably that was the thing that made me feel very comfortable in my classrooms. And so that is why I really like to do something with my student, and it's to move in class, not to stay there like a rock. I really like to do many things by acting, by moving. That is my one of my methods and strategies that I really like to apply. I don't know if I can share my screen.
Yes. Let me.
Yes, yes, I'm going to show you briefly something that I really like to share with my colleagues. Okay, share screen. Okay, I'm going to share this. Yeah, look, well, here I like to write in my blog. It's something that I really like to use and apply with my students. Um, TPR, as I told you, I really like to do something that implies moving. So I really like to do things that implies my students moving all the time. Yeah, not like the traditional education where the teacher is in front of the class at the front of the classroom, and the students are seated there and they are just paying attention and repeating and taking notes. No, for me it's something completely different. I really like to do look, my students enjoy doing scaffolding. That is my favorite strategy.
I remember.
Yes, yeah, strategies. And here you have techniques, and look, that is me moving all the time with my students. Yeah, and I truly enjoy doing that. So here I'm going to explore on some philosophical approaches. Yeah, so I always keep in mind the approach, and then the method, the strategies, the techniques, and activity. And of course, new authors now have include task after this activity umbrella. So this is what I really like to do with my students, everything related to movement. And they are the specific strategies. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Yes, yeah, I can make it. Yeah, so look, this is what I really like to do. And the strategies that I really like to apply with my students: scaffolding, cooperative learning, guarded vocabulary, and hands-on activities. And as you can see, scaffolding here, because I really like to help those students who need more of our attention. Yeah. Unfortunately, our educational system is not the best one. So I really like to focus on those students who need more of my attention. But also, I really like to do other activities with the rest of the group, because you cannot concentrate only on one student. You have to have the capacity to control the whole group. So that is why I really like to apply this wonderful method, the TPR. Even when we think that the TPR is just for children, from my experience, I can say that this method has worked very, very well with children, teenagers, young adults, and also adults. Yeah, and cooperative learning. I really like to encourage my students to work and learn from others. Yeah, and so look, here they are working on different posters. I don't know, Andres, if you remember this activity that we learned
Yes,
in Kansas.
operative.
So here everybody's working on their poster or maybe on the problem solution project, and then they are visiting each poster, discussing, taking notes. So all the time they are moving, they are acting, they are asking, they are answering. So this is one of my favorite strategies. Instead of just writing on the board and students completing the workbook exercises, no, I really like to make my students move. That is one of my strategies. Yeah, and guarded vocabulary, the ability that the teacher has to have in order to be understood. Yeah, so for example, I really like to work basic vocabulary with them, or this is another strategy, I really like to use cognates. Cognates, words that are very similar in Spanish and in English. Yeah, so I really like to use that. So that is why when my students talk to me, they always say, teacher, I don't know why I cannot understand other teachers, but when I talk to you, I can understand you clearly. And that is the strategy, to use simpler vocabulary for them, and also to use cognates. Your rate of speech is also very important, and avoid using idioms. That is another strategy. So guarded vocabulary is also part of my strategies that I use to teach English, and these strategies have worked very, very well. Okay, and hands-on activity, the use of technology, something that, now we are teaching new generations that love technology. So, of course, look, technology must be there in class. Sitting I haven't included here sitting arrangement, but as you can see, this is not like the common class where is everything ordered by rows and columns. Look, this is like a semicircle. So I really like to vary the seating arrangement in my classroom. Yeah, so not the same or the traditional seating arrangement, columns and rows. That is boring. So maybe you can explore by doing other types of seating arrangement. So they are my 4 strategies: hands-on activities, guarded vocabulary, cooperative learning, and scaffolding. They are part of my strategies. And if you want to know a little bit more about techniques, I really like to use manipulatives or realia like a cell phone. When my students have to do a role play, I always encourage my students to use realia, backpacks, cell phones, notebooks, and well, I think it's really important to make them feel that they are using English naturally. Okay, and it's better if they are connected with something that it's around them. So this is one of my techniques. Heterogeneous grouping, everybody knows that each person is a different universe. So it's very important to group our students by different skills. If you have a person who is very good at reading, if you have another student who is very good at speaking, if you have another student who is very good at acting, put them together and then assigned to each one, to each student, a specific role. So the idea is that all of them are going to work equally, and they are going to be able to demonstrate their capacities. Okay, because I have seen that sometimes teachers like to group students like, okay, just you and you because you are good at students. Probably you not because, oh no, we must promote heterogeneous grouping as part of the techniques to teach English. Repetition, it's very important, not only to repeat the list of the verbs, but also our expressions. When I have the chance to talk to my students, I always like to repeat the same phrases, the same questions every single day. So in the future, they are not going to feel like, what is the teacher saying? Or what is the teacher asking? Yeah, because if you repeat the same questions, the same phrases, the same expressions every single day, then you are going to see that your students are going to be able to understand everything that you are saying every single day. Kinetics, as I told you, everything that is related to movement. Well, let me see if I have some pictures here. Well, manipulatives and realia, there you have, students are using, well, here, they are using things from the chemistry lab. And, well, because they love chemistry. Yeah, heterogeneous grouping, as you can see, students who have different abilities or capacities, and I really like to promote that. So not the same, this again, not the traditional classroom, not the traditional classroom. We have to break that, please, dear colleagues. Yeah, encourage our students to do something different. Okay, just when you say, all right, today we are going to work this way. We are going to arrange our tables and our chairs face to face or in semicircle, or maybe we're going to work in groups. So only that is going to create a better atmosphere in your classroom. All right. Yeah. And what I have here, repetition. Look, believe it or not, first of all, I used to repeat the phrases that I have here when my students use this to represent vocabulary expressions. At that time, we couldn't use Quizlet, but now I am doing through Quizlet. But some years ago, I encouraged my students to use pieces of cardboard, and then I used to repeat certain expressions, and then they were able to understand everything what I repeated every single day. As you can see, now the teacher is not here because at that moment they were my teacher. I remember that I sat in one of their chairs and they started to teach me new things. Yeah, so repetition is so good. It's so good, okay? And kinetics, I told you, look, in this case, the teacher is not here. Yeah, it's one of the students. Look, this is what you can create in your classroom. Believe it or not, some people can say, no, my students are not able to do that, to teach other students. That is false. If you encourage your students, believe me, yeah, you're going to create the best atmosphere in the classroom for them. Okay, so part of my strategy is that. And activities, well, since I was talking about the TPR, that like the method that I really like to use with my students, I have some activities that implies movement, of course. Running dictation, that you know that maybe most of us have tried this activity. Role plays, as you can see in my pictures. Where WAYNK, that is another activity that I'm going to show you with some pictures. Stomp, spin, and spell. This is like competition, and you know that our students like challenges, so this is another good activity. And Simon says that this is very, very common, but not the typical Simon says, show me your wallet. No, you can use Simon says to say, okay, Simon says, all right, let's start working on an interesting topic about science, the metamorphosis of the frog. Right, we're going to do that this semester. So not the common Simon says, okay? And running dictation, well, we have there what they have to do, role playing, yeah, the situations, stomp, spin, and spell challenges that they like to do. And Simon says, but look, Simon says, we are going to that Cupid shuffle, or we are going to dance, I don't know, maybe um, um, any other popular song. Yeah. Simon says, today we're going to dance and we are going to follow the instructions of the teacher and we are going to do this and this and this. And look, I don't know, Andres, if you remember, but in Kansas, they taught us how to dance Cupid Shuffle, to the right, to the right, to the
Yes,
left, to the right, to the
it was
left.
very typical at the end there.
Now kick, now kick. Yeah, so look, all of these activities can create a different atmosphere in your classroom. Part of my strategies, part of my techniques, part of other different activities that I have used with my students, and those activities have worked very, very well with them. Okay, so look here, they are interacting among others, and the teacher is not there. The teacher is just taking the pictures. Yeah, so look, this is what we have to do. Not just give instructions, follow the instructions, students. No, we must be part of that group as well. All right. I don't know if I answered that question.
So I think that definitely, Mauricio, your approach is is like a student's approach, center approach, because a student is the protagonist of their own work. They learn by themselves. So you need to guide them, obviously, but they can do by themselves. And the most important thing is that you combine them, that they are able to do these things. Just in case, as you told before, there are some teachers that they say, okay, or they complain. They said, okay, my students are not able to do this.
Mhm.
I don't agree that, because you, I sometimes I feel that I can do it, but you need to change your mindset, and you can also connect with the interests of your students to help them to 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 make progress in their abilities. Because if you are a center teacher in your classroom, or that the typical teacher that only gives instructions that you have to do this, do this, do this, open the book. Maybe you don't build something interesting in your students.
That's right. That's right. So that is why I really like to encourage my students to do something new. And I really like to motivate my students. First of all, we as teacher must make them feel comfortable in our classrooms. And, nobody knows the reality of each student. Maybe in his or her house, he has to he has to fight against something internal or external in his or her family. And if they come to our school, our institution, and you don't trust him, so that is something bad. So motivate your students, make them believe in themselves. Okay, that is something very important.
I totally agree with you, Mauricio. And well, here I'm reading in one of these in one of your slides, now the TPR, the TPR is a total physical response, and that's the uh one of the methods that we can include in our practice, no? Mauricio, I'm going to read a question.
Sure.
Roxana is asking about what applications can you share for students to improve their pronunciation? So she's referring about technological devices, I mean.
Well, first of all, one of the things that I really like to use is Quizlet, because on Quizlet you can create flashcards. Yeah, that is a good application where you can create flashcards, and students have the chance to type the word, type the definition, and also they can type their examples. And this application let them listen to the correct pronunciation of that word, of that definition, and also of that example. So Quizlet is a good application if you want to make them practice pronunciation. And the good thing is that Quizlet is a completely free application. Now, my second strategy that I really like to do, as I told you before in one of the pictures, was hands-on activities. That means technology, of course. So I really liked to explore two audiobooks that you have on YouTube, for example. And for example, I have downloaded the Elephant Man book, yeah, and on YouTube you have the audiobook. So what I like to do with my students is to download the PDF of this book because it's free, and then I make them to print the book. Why? Because when they read, I really like them to teach. I really like to teach them, sorry, how to understand what they are reading. Yeah, by highlighting, by identifying the main idea, the supporting sentences. Yeah, I really like to do that. And then when they understand what they are reading, then the second part is pronunciation, because they can understand, yeah, texts, but then the other challenging is pronunciation. Sometimes they mispronounce words, including basic words. So that is why I use audiobooks. So after reading the first chapter of the Elephant Man book, what I like to do is, okay, now we are going to listen while reading. That is a good strategy, that is a good technique that has worked very well with my students, because they have read the text previously. Now it's time to listen to the correct pronunciation of each sentence, and then they know how to pronounce those words correctly. Basically, these are the two things that I really like to do. These two techniques: hands-on activity, the use of the app quiz, and the use of audiobooks.
Thank you so much, Mauricio, for sharing these insightful ideas for improving different skills. Okay, so well, in this moment, I'm going to read. Okay, Roxana, thank you so much. Um, yes, there is another question, please, dear colleagues, just in case you want to know something from teacher Mauricio. Okay, Mauricio, I was paying attention to your last part when you mentioned about that you downloaded the elephant book and the students downloaded and they printed. So I feel that that's fantastic because the students don't only read because they are digital learners.
That's
So
right.
they keep reading in physical books. So that custom um is maintaining. So they are still doing it in different in some circumstances. So pronunciation, remember that it's one of the components of the oral skills, but we need to develop other areas to cover, no?
Mhm.
From
That's right.
speaking, from reading, okay? Pronunciation is just one aspect, but
Mhm.
we have to follow others. For example, you mentioned main idea, that's for example, that's for skimming, for scanning, for guessing the
Mhm.
meaning. So and I think that's good because you connect then the prior knowledge and they can develop more skills, no? So mental skills, no? So
That's right.
it's similar when we read in Spanish. We need to
Mhm.
connect what we know with a new with something new, with a new knowledge, no?
Yes, that's right. Yes, absolutely. And pronunciation, as you told us before, it's part of one of the skills. Yeah, but it's not just like, okay, today I'm going to concentrate just on pronunciation, and my students today have to pronounce the words correctly. If not, zero. No, no, no. Remember, this is like a chain of skills to be developed. Yeah, so we must go step by step until they can achieve the main goal.
Okay, thank you so much, Mauricio, for sharing this. In this part of the interview, no? So we were talking about you were talking about your teaching experience, your methods, the way that you share the knowledge in classroom, and I think that's great because that's a part of the contribution to the teachers too. Because if we want to improve our teaching practice, we can learn different teaching styles in different ways. No, so Mauricio, I'm gonna change the part of the interview, and I would like to focus on your contributions to the society. So I mean, for example, um, I observed that you have some that you do some activities, no? For example, in I'm not sure about it. It is for your child or this is for on your own that you also interview to students or your child students. So can you explain that? Can you explain us a little bit more about it?
Sure. And during pandemic, we we just watch bad news on TV and just bad news on the radio as well. So one day, my brother and I decided to create something different. Yeah, because when you turn on the TV, just bad news, sad news. And so my brother and I decided to start creating a space for people who like to share part of their lives and encourage other people. At that time, the situation was like a nightmare, and we wanted to do something different. So that is why we decided to start working on a talk show where we invited professors, when we invited students, when we invited lots of colleagues, of course. I had the chance to interview my Kansas State teachers. And of course, Andres, you were there, of course, because you are a great professor. So we decided to invite people who can share part of their lives to motivate other lives. So we had the chance to interview Yachi Tech students and also GAR students. Well, GAR students were those students who belong to high performance students group, and they were in different countries. Thanks to technology and thanks to Masterpiece Show, that is the name of the TV show, the talk show. Thanks to technology, we could interview people from all over the world. People from Japan, people from Australia, people from the US, from Canada, people from, wow, of course, from Europe. So we had the chance to interview people from all over the world, and that was something really fascinating. Um, our main goal was just to produce 100 episodes, but at the end we in 1 year we had more than 100. We had 125 episodes and 6 seasons, and now we are working on the 7th season that is coming soon. Probably in May, April, we will start with the season number 7 of this talk show.
Yes, I remember Mauricio when I saw your talk shows, I was impressed about it because I saw different teachers around the world, and you mentioned also not only teachers, I also saw some students now that at Yacha University that represent our country. So, and I think, oh, that's very amazing, no, that they have the opportunity for them to express and to talk about their experience. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. So it was really nice, especially the time when I had the chance to interview Arkansas State professors. Yeah, so it was like, wow, I feel very proud to do
Yeah.
this with my former professors who inspired me to be a good professor as well.
I also had the chance to invite Kansas State professors, for example,
Oh,
like
fantastic.
Melissa, yes, here. Well, so it was incredible that they can contribute it and support, no, to the English teachers community with their experience and their knowledge. Okay, to continue, please, teachers, if you have any question, okay, you can ask. This is the moment to participate it.
If I am not wrong, somebody was asking me about how to work with a student with special needs. And
Mhm.
to be honest, Andres, I haven't had the chance. I haven't had the chance to work with these students, but in the future I would like, because I really like challenges. And I know that for teacher is very difficult to work. Why? Because at university nobody teaches us how to work with these special groups. Yeah, so probably what we have to do is to discover on our own. Yeah, it's not possible. Andres and the rest of my colleagues here, you know that when we get graduated from university, we are not like masters or experts in education. No, no, our experiences probably is the best school, because through experiences we can discover, we can try different types of methodology, strategies, techniques, activities, until we know how to work with them. However, for those teachers who works with special needs students, my recommendation is to work with an expert in this, like the psychologist. Yeah, a psychologist, you must work together, because probably me as a teacher can think that probably this is going to work very well with this student who is not good at listening, or with a blind student. Yeah, probably this is what I think. But you know that there are other people who are expert in these type of fields, and they are psychologists. Yeah, so my recommendation should be to work together, to work together. I would really like to say to work also with parents, but you know better than me that nowadays we have some parents that they don't take care of their children, because they think that that is the task of teachers. Yeah. So what I can say is just work with the help of the psychologist, okay? Because they are the ones who can guide us and tell us if what we want to apply with them could work well or not. Just I'm going to imagine a scenario. If I have one of my students who is blind, imagine. So I have to look for strategies to develop his or her listening skills. Yeah. So I have to try to find those things. Actually, nowadays in Yache Tech, we have a blind students. Imagine how challenging it is for English teachers. But for physics teacher, mathematics teacher, imagine how difficult is that. However, all of my colleagues from this university have had to learn um, little by little through experiences. Yeah, so unfortunately, nobody has taught us how to work with these special needs students at all. So the mission that we have as teachers, as facilitators, is to look for those strategies. Maybe one of these techniques, one of these strategies, one of these methods could work with one of the students, but that is your mission. You have to try to find the way until your student dominate or achieve that goal.
Definitely, Mauricio. Thank you so much for answering that part of the question because mm, um, many authorities or people that are in charge of administrative or in some roles, they expect that teachers solve that issue. But
Mhm.
as a part of our as our teacher preparation, we have not incorporated, or I don't remember in the last year when we studied the career to be a teacher
Mhm.
that we learn concepts or ideas. Maybe in psychology they can teach you how to develop those ideas or skills. But as teachers, we know obviously, for example, didactics, we know methodology, but special needs education is different. That's another field, no? So somebody was asking me about how to evaluate those students. It's the same. It's the same what you said, no? So we need to look for support, advice, professional advice, no? And the ones that can help us are the psychologists because they studied that field to help people, no?
That's right. And don't feel afraid to ask for help. Yes, don't feel afraid because, there are other people that can help us and they can give us a hand, and maybe we can conduct that experience better until we can manage that situation. Mhm.
Thank you so much, Mauricio, for explaining us how we need to address or to aim this situation that we usually have, no, especially in high school, no, where we have diversity classrooms, okay, students that come from different communities, they also have some problems, so we need to focus on their needs and the problem and their problems, no. Okay, I'm not sure, maybe one of our partners, Marisol, Belisario, or the rest, somebody would like to say something about or to ask last question to our uh, guest teacher here. Okay, Mauricio, no? So in this interview, so we have talk about different areas, no? For example, we have discussed about your experience. We also talk about your the contribution that you have made, and also you facilitated us because you show your work, no? And as teachers, we saw the evidence and the things that that you have done, and I'm in this moment I'm serving that you are sharing like an article.
Yes, before I forget, there is something interesting, guys, that I have learned here at the Tech is, guys, it's really nice to keep your memories with you with about the memories about working with your students. Just imagine that one day I have a very good experience. I can write down in a diary or in a piece of paper, and then the idea could be to publish that. Why not? Why not? So this is another thing that teacher must do, yeah, because it's very important to share with other people what you know. I have met wonderful people, experts who say this have worked with me, but when you say, well, I would like to have a session or a specific or can you share that material with us? They don't want. So remember, we as teacher must be the model for our students, and we can teach them good values. And one of those values is to share what you have or to share what you know. Okay, so and this is the article that I wrote for an Egyptian Congress night TESOL. And look here, I also shared with these particular teachers from Egypt the same, the total physical response and method for developing speaking skills, but through my experience also at university. And this is another activity that I really like to do with my students, the onion ring or the rotating columns if you have large classes. And so look, I have tried this method not only with not only with children, but also with primary school students, high school students, and also with university students. So the method has worked very well, and believe me, everything is possible if you want. Yeah, so I really recommend you to write your memories, um, write down on maybe on a diary, and then try to publish them, because believe me, it's really nice to share with other teachers what you know. Okay, if you apply a specific strategy method, or there is an activity that has worked very well with you and your students, try to share that with your colleagues. Yeah, so yeah, and this is something important. We as teacher must write and publish. This is very important. That is why I really like to encourage my colleagues to do that. Yeah, so it's really nice. Why? Believe it or not, Andres, after publishing this article, uh, teachers from all over the world starting to text me, started to sending me messages for special tips. Oh, I read about the activity that you mentioned in the article, the onion ring. How can I work with a 45 student classroom? That is a good question. So I said, well, onion ring is better. It's a good activity for small classes. But if you have to teach large classes, more than 40 students, you can do this, rotating columns. This is another alternative. So, and that is why I recommend you to write your memories down and share them with other colleagues.
Such a great advice, a piece of advice, Mauricio. Thank you so much. And I see your article, and I think that's a great accomplishment, especially for teachers that require to use different methods in their classroom. I think that they can learn and update more information from your article. So yes, Roxana, amazing advice. Yes, I agree with you.
And remember, guys, every method can work very well. Just keep in mind that. Please keep in mind that. Yeah, probably here I didn't mention the philosophical approaches. Yeah, and yeah, this one. Yeah, as you know, the main three approaches that we have here is grammatical approach, communicative approach, cognitive approach. Yeah. I would like to interact with the ones who are here in this session, and use the chat box and tell me what is the approach that you keep in mind at the moment of planning your activities in your weekly lesson plans, or I don't know, let me know what is the approach, the main approach that you use to focus on the activities or to plan the activities for your students. Grammatical approach, communicative approach, or cognitive approach. I would really like to know. Use the chat box and let me know what is the specific or the most relevant approach that you consider at the moment of planning your activities, please.
Okay, teacher. So share here, please, in the chat soon, for example, what is the well, I'm going to write mine, please.
Okay, sure. Okay, I have communicative approach, communicative approach. Uh-huh. Yeah. Perfect. So probably most of us have applied or we work under the communicative approach. That is good because what we want to promote in our students is to speak, to produce English. That's so good. That is something important, extremely, extremely important. However, grammatical approach, even when this is a or it's associated with a traditional um, model, or maybe as we have here in the parts of the characteristic teacher center, yeah, education, maybe some people think that the grammatical approach is bad, or maybe communicative approach is better than grammatical and cognitive, or maybe that cognitive is the best of all of them. However, from my experience, what I can say is that these three approaches are good and they can work very well. Only depend on the way how you use these approaches to encourage your students to learn and produce English. Yeah, everybody has taught grammar. It's important, grammar. We cannot say no, grammar is not important. No, because if my students are going to take international exams, international or standardized exams, it's not possible to structure a sentence in an essay as I think it is. No, they have to follow specific rules to write a specific essay or academic essay. So we cannot skip grammar. Grammar is important, but it depends on the way how you use this approach to teach. In my case, as I told you, I have used the total physical response to teach them grammar, to teach them other skills, reading, listening, yeah, vocabulary, pronunciation. Yeah, so look, it depends how you use these approaches in your house. In your classrooms. And also communicative, of course, because what we want what we want from our students is to speak, to produce, to interact. That is the idea. But what about cognitive? Yes, because now students have access to technology, so they can work on other different types of activities. Yeah, so now that is why we have task projects based learning. That is another important thing. Students who discover the process, they can make they can do experiments, etc. They can work on different projects. So as you can see, these three approaches are important, but all depend on the way how you use them in your classrooms.
Definitely, Mauricio. Yeah. And the last one, that is the cognitive. Marisol said that she works with that approach because she
Mhm.
develops their student the critical thinking. So, and I think that's right, because the cognitive approaches takes from the studies, or from the learners, the best way to be active in the learning. So to reflect, to think, to discover, and to do different things, to connect with the new language.
Mhm. Yeah, and that is good. Again, um, many teachers like to focus on a very specific approach, and it's good, it's normal. However, I invite you to combine this. Just to cite an example, imagine a person who is an expert at grammar. He knows grammar rules very well. He writes very he writes academic papers very well, yeah, but imagine that that person or that student cannot communicate what he is writing. He is not, or she is not able to transmit that knowledge with others. Okay, the same situation. Imagine a person who is very good at speaking. Yeah, he or she is very good at speaking, but that person doesn't have enough knowledge about that specific topic. He's very good at speaking, but unfortunately, he or she doesn't have enough experience or knowledge to transmit that message. It's the same like in the first scenario, yeah? Or the opposite. Imagine a person who is able to use their cognitive skills, metacognition, yeah? But he or she cannot transmit the message, or he or she cannot use grammar properly. So that is why they cannot work isolated. No, they have to work all together. Okay. So that is the only thing that I really like to mention when I have the chance to talk to teachers, to colleagues. Remember, all of these three approaches are good, but it depends on the way how you use them with your students in your classroom.
Thanks, dear Mauricio, for sharing that insightful advice about how to use the different approaches. So I'm completely sure that some of the teachers will reflect on the way that they normally teach, and they probably adjust the changes, or they adjust their teaching styles to the different approaches that they really want to do it. No,
Mhm.
thank you so much. Okay, well, Mauricio, this is the last part of the interview. So before I close that interview, I want to express my gratitude first for accepting being here, and also my gratitude to the teachers, because here in Ecuador we have we are in a holiday, so maybe
Mhm.
people are traveling, we're in other places, so you
Mhm.
take your time to participate it.
Mhm.
So for me, I admire that part of your professional development. Thank you so much. Let me ask you something, dear colleagues. I request you something. Please, can you turn on your cameras, because I would like to take the last picture. Okay, everybody?
Right. Mm.
Yes.
The best part of every session is when you ask them to show their best smile. I
Yes.
really like, and I like to do this with my students as well. It's really fascinating. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, don't worry, teachers, just in case you can't open. Okay. I think there will be another opportunity. Okay, thank you so much. We are going to smile. Okay, thank you, Marisol. Okay, great. Thank you so much, dear teachers, for being part of this interview. So we are going to invite you to another interview. Maybe we are going to send you a flyer to let you know when we are going to have another teachers interview. No, Mauricio, my best wishes for you, my friend. Thank you so much for um, sharing with us your experience and your insightful advice.
Okay. Thank you so much. Um, when I am in an interview like this, believe me, it's like this is the chance to share with my colleagues part of my experience, but at the same time to learn from them. Thank you so much, dear colleagues, for your time here. Thank you so much, Andres, for this wonderful opportunity to be here in this interview. And my only recommendation for all of you, dear colleagues, remember, teach with love, teach with respect, teach with passion, because there isn't nothing special like teaching and doing what you really like to do. We are teachers. We must motivate our students. Yeah, and we have to create the best atmosphere in your classrooms. Just keep in mind that, okay? And trust your students. Thank you so much, Andres.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. And for everybody, have a nice weekend and enjoy your holiday. Just in case you stay home and you're fine. Bye bye, everybody. Have a good time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.